Yeah, so welcome everybody, and thank you for the introduction and also for the opportunity that I'm able to present some of our work today. So I will start with the first slide. So wine is actually the end product of a long chain of processes, starting basically by planting a crafted wine into the soil. So the plant wine and vineyards itself are in the focus of our research. And today I will specifically talk about the importance to perceive vineyards as agro-ecosystems with partly competing functions. So vineyards shape landscape for decades, creating unique ecosystems. So in terms of sustainability, vineyards have as a perennial cropping system an advantage, including also non-crop vegetation in interrows. But still, we have to keep in mind that vineyards are highly managed areas, although the awareness towards natural production system did rise recently. So the concept of ecosystem service is quite old already, but it's a good tool to classify and value processes and goods within and from ecosystems. So in vineyards, actually, meta-studies confirmed that often only single or a selection of ecosystem services are investigated. Among the ones which were studied are, of course, grapes, the product, nutrient cycles, pest and disease control, cultural aspects, and science. But in many cases, the complexity of the system and the dependencies of different factors are often neglected, which is tried to circumvent in new studies. So when we focus a little bit on the soil has a diverse set of functions. So from the farmer point of view, of course, it's a production site. And it needs to ensure the accessibility with the machinery, mobilize and store nutrients as well. On the other hand, the soil has to fulfill an enormous set of ecological functions, like filtering, degradation of organic matter, or also providing a habitat for microbes and insects. Therefore, for us, it's very important to know how we influence soil communities and also the physical structure by our different management measures in the vineyard. Thereby, we aim to combine them in a way that ecology, agronomy, and economy is provided. So the project itself dealt with different soil cover management strategies in Europe, and thereby we wanted to connect them in a way that we look at these parameters independently of climate and soil conditions, and we focused on biodiversity and biodiversity-linked ecosystem services. We used a two-factor approach as shown here. So one factor was the soil cover management, and the second one was the landscape diversity. We collected different parameters and also aimed to link these parameters to ecosystem services. Thereby we focused on soil, like soil fertility, soil stability, or also degradation of organic matter. The interrow the management of the interrow has been changed the last decades from a strategy which was mainly focused on bare ground towards a strategy where vegetation is covered, either permanent or in alternating. And that's what our experimental setup was built on. So we established in all vineyards 3 treatments, bare ground, alternating ground cover in every second row, and the permanent vegetation cover. So from the viticultural perspective, this was actually the easy part. So the challenge did start later, so we had to face the reality that we were not experienced in collecting biodiversity parameters. But with a lot of protocols and some good books and enthusiastic people, we managed to get to know our vineyards from an angle we did not know before. So the next slides, I will show you some of the results. So in terms of earthworms, it was quite evident. So the best method was to dig. So, and we did see that we have a lot of effects on the vegetation period, and that vegetation did strongly promote the occurrence of earthworms. We also collected a high number of insects with picker traps at several time points in the vineyards, and by focusing on the coverbit beetles, we did collect more than 500 individuals and more than 50 species. And in summary, we found quite inconsistent results between years, but in general low abundance in plots with vegetation. Similar is for the mesofauna. So the seasonal effect was even more pronounced. So we had higher diversity in spring, but higher abundance in autumn, but less diverse communities. So in summary, we can conclude that collecting time matters a lot, and we need large and diverse data sets to draw general conclusions out of it. We also took a look at the microbiome, but there the soil treatment did not influence a lot the communities, but we had a strong promoting effect of microbial activity parameters, like for example, soil respiration. So in summary, what we did learn during the project and also from the results of the project. So of course, we did develop new ideas from our experience. And one of these ideas is to evaluate different undertrellis weed control methods for the effects on soil vitality and vine physiology, which is actually controversially discussed nowadays among viticulturists. So the results did show that we can use soil exogenous enzymes as a proxy for soil microbial activity, and that we could show a strong promotion of the vegetation on these activity parameters. And I personally think that a flexibilization of the management, both in rows as well as in inter rows, is necessary in the future to maintain a stable and highly resilient system. So the project did influence our work and of course our group, us as a group at Boku. So for example, we did change the Boku demo and student Vineyard to organic production system. Students can bring ideas and influence the work in progress. We aim to provide more biodiverse semi-natural habitats and get more flowering plants into the vineyard area. And we teach ecosystem services and transfer knowledge to the public, as for example, to school kids in Thun, like for the Boku Saft competition we had just recently. So with the last slide, I would like to thank you for your attention, and also your applause and my applause goes to all the people who did make the project successful. So the wine growers, the group members, the project members, and the students who did support this project with their interest and enthusiasm. So thanks a lot. And I'm happy to answer some questions.